Hi everyone, my name is Patty Miranda and this is my share out. The person I interviewed, his name is Marcus, how do I say his last name? Fazakerly. It's a little hard to say for me, I don't know why. We have a mutual friend and I've hung out with him on several occasions. So I thought, I could ask him, but I don't know him in a personal level to ask, personal questions like these. So actually the questions that were on the prompt, well, not the questions, the little quick tips on how to interview someone with a disability actually helped me to break the ice. So Marcus has spina bifida and he was explaining to me, consider it like a cyst. There was a specific word I wrote it down, and even if I were to read it, I don't know if I would say it right. But he was saying it's like a cyst. And then he said it was on my lower lumbar. And he said it's on my lower end of the tailbone. Okay, I understand that. And so before I talk about the interview, my perception of Marcus is someone who I thought would be someone shy because he does have a stutter. Knowing me personally, when I'm in a room of really educated people and their vocabulary is a lot more extensive than mine, I tend to get shy or just, I don't know, my confidence just kind of lowers. So I thought maybe he may have that kind of feeling. And then I also thought, well, because he has this disability, I thought maybe he might be more cautious on taking care of himself, to do things slower. And so, yeah, those are the things I kind of thought, that's the kind of person Marcus is. But as we continued with the interview, he taught me something completely different. So, for example, yes, he does have a stutter, but he told me one of the questions, what's the worst thing about coping with your disability? And surprisingly, he said, I've always had a pretty good outlook on my disability. I always try to keep positive. And that's good. That's good because of that mindset, he was explaining how he didn't allow the negativity just to consume him. He needs to keep positive. And then he said the only time he's felt bad is, or slightly depressed, is when he would see the kids playing out in the playground, running around, and he couldn't. And I asked other things like, what would you like others to know about you? And this is the part, I was a little surprised. He said, it's okay to ask questions. If you don't understand, it's okay to ask questions in a respectful way. It's better than to get stared at, and I completely understand that. But, sometimes I think, well, wouldn't it be rude just to go up and ask, why are you in a wheelchair? But in the other interviews that we hear in the class, from other families, they say it's okay to ask. So I'm kind of getting that vibe from families. It's okay to ask if you ask in a polite way, opposed to staring. If you're staring, you try and figure it out. Well, why not just go opposed to just looking, I know Marcus considers it rude, so just go ahead and ask. Okay, next time I will. And one of the questions that really had me applying him was when I asked, what advice would you give others about being successful? He said, don't compare yourself to other people. You got to accept yourself for who you are. when you come off as confident, others will respond to you as a confident person. But if you're not, then they will see your disability, and that honestly I could relate to that. Anyone really can, because if you're fearful, people are going to sense that. They're going to sense that. If you are cocky about yourself, people are going to sense that. And yes, you have a disability, but if you know your stuff and you are confident, they're going to see that confidence through that wheelchair. And that's exactly how Marcus presents himself. So, and he takes full advantage of, public transportation. So when I say maybe he moves cautiously, take care of himself, no, he goes. Life doesn't stop him. Sorry, the wheelchair doesn't stop him. His disability doesn't stop him. And having maybe a mindset of being, shy. No, quite the opposite. He's very social and is very confident in himself. Well, I mean, after this interview, he just kind of proved me wrong. I had these ideas about Marcus, and after having this interview, I realized I was wrong. And on my paper, I actually wrote down, if anything, I could learn something from him, because, I mean, like I said, if I'm in a room with educated people, I'm going to feel a bit shy myself. But if I consider myself confident in myself, then that would be projected to others. So maybe I could take a tip from him. And one last thing, I'm on Patty time. So I sometimes run late, but he takes advantage of public transportation, and he gets picked up and he gets to places on time. And I don't have I don't use the public transportation. I have my own vehicle. You'd think I'd show up to places on time, and no, I sometimes don't. And that's something that I could take notes on for Marcus as well. So I had a really good interview. I enjoyed interviewing him, and I took quite a bit. But that's kind of the gist of how the interview went. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a good evening.